I do find it like a bit of an escapism, but also because I'm always thinking about fishing and it's always in my mind, I guess it's not so much an escapism, it's just a realisation of what I want to do. I do really enjoy that when you're on the lake and you're trying to catch a fish, that's it, that's all you're focusing on. You've got fish feed in front of you, everything else you're worried about work, about home life, doesn't matter, because you've got that fish feeding 6 foot in front of you and you've got to catch it, and you don't need any outside influence, you just need to focus on that one thing. So I do think it is a good escapism, but I wouldn't say it is my escapism, because it's always there for me. Even if it's just the back of my head, fishing is always there for me. Oh, I love them from here, man. How dark they are and everything. This one's really cool. Look at his eyes and everything. Sick one. Big old pets too, yeah. Mega carp. You should see the mirrors. The thing I love most about fishing, I think, is the whole freedom, the adventure, there's so much unknown about it. You're relying on so many variables you can't control. You do your best to work around those variables and those parameters, and you still don't know what's going to happen. And I love that. There's so many things in life that are just so predictable. You just go through the motions with it. But fishing, even when you go through the motions, things happen that you just don't expect to happen. And that's what I love about it. So recently I had the pleasure of having Dan join me for 24 hours, sort of insight into my style of angling, and visited a few different venues, a lot of walking, a lot of sort of different styles of angling as well. And yeah, like I said, that really is what I do in 24 hours. So we started off on the River Lee, and sort of straight away I had quite a nice common. Right. Shall we hold them up for some pictures? Good morning, and you join me Riverside today with this cool little common I just stalked a few inches from the bank. Type of angling I absolutely love. Dan's with me as well. I've got him for a day and a night, and he's just going to follow me around doing the type of angling that I really like. Nothing too serious. We're going to keep it fun, exciting, stay mobile, a lot of sight fishing. Like I said, just the type of angling that I really, really love. So I guess it's sort of a day in the life of my fishing. Let's slip him back and get on with the rest of the day. What do you say, 25, 30? River carp, so you double it anyway. As I said, because I love the freedom part of fishing so much, that's what I look for in my angling. I don't look for, like, if I have to book a swim for where I'm fishing at the weekend, that is just, I hate it, I really don't like that. But whereas if I just know I've got a nice long stretch of river, pretty much all to myself, there doesn't have to be big fish in there. If I know that I've just got that to myself, I just walk down it, just see what happens, see where it takes me, see what the fish are doing, let them dictate what I'm doing. That's what I look for. I look for, like I said, that unknown, that freedom to sort of do what I think I need to do to catch the fish. Those are the two main things, like far higher in terms of importance above the actual fish stock, the seeming prestige of a venue, those things, they're so far down my list. It's the actual style of fishing. I always say this, I always buzz so much more off the way I've caught a fish as opposed to the fish I've caught. I get so gassed just catching, if I can catch a fish stalked a couple of foot from the edge, or I've just sight fished it, I've watched it go around the lake for an hour and then I've eventually caught it, that, even if it's a 10-pound common, that will give me so much more buzz than sort of fishing 3 rods on a spot at a busy day ticket water and catching a 30-pounder. It's the way I catch it for me. So being able to catch them the way I want to catch them, that's what I look for a lot in my fishing. That's super important to me. After that first fish, it was still early in the morning, so we worked our way back up that little stretch for the next sort of hour or so. Oh, this could be it, Dan. Did manage to catch one more fish. Definitely not the biggest fish in the stretch, this tiny little common. Always going back for it. Whee! River carp are all special, doesn't matter the size of them. Cool one, but even for me, that is a very small fish. After we'd finished on that first stretch, it was time for my sort of favourite style of angling on the River Lee, and that was getting the waders on and just working our way upstream. It's a really it's a stretch where it's quite narrow and it doesn't go sort of higher than your belly button, so you can wade the whole way up, and it's just gin clear. You come around corners and there's just shoals of barbel and carp, and yeah, for me that is freedom. The most important thing about this style of fishing is how light you need to be, and I'm travelling extremely light. I've got a unhooking mat, a landing net, a 6-foot dwarf rod, and that's pretty much it. I've got all the bait I need in there, a few different hooks. Like I said, I'm free lining everything. It's all close quarter work, so you can be really, really mobile, really, really light, but you have to be, because you're on the move quite a bit. You're going to cover quite a bit of distance. You don't want to be weighed down by loads of gear. So after working our way up that river, there was a few opportunities with sort of chub and barbel. Watch this. I did manage a little chub, and then eventually we sort of came around this corner. There's this big old viaduct there that we went under. It was really, really shallow underneath there, and yeah, that's a really cool setting. And I know from past experience that once you get round that viaduct, there's normally a chance for a carp. So it's almost like the tension was building as you're going underneath that viaduct, and then you come around this corner, and just like I thought, there's a shoal of carp there, and fed a little bit of bread. It was coming down in the flow. Then the odd one started coming up and taking a few pieces, and then eventually I did have an opportunity. Whee. Ah, and he swam straight into the net. Oh, result. Like I said, not the biggest, but catching them that way is just, you can't beat it. You see everything that's happening. I feel very happy. Like I said, this style of fishing, it's free, isn't it? It's freeing. I love fishing that makes you feel free and like you're on an adventure. So I grew up in Switzerland where the fishing was, it was a lot more, I always say it's like the Wild West. There was no scene, it was just go out and find things and do things for yourself. And I always thought back then, like, oh, I can't wait till I live in England, or if I lived in England now, it would be so great because I could just go, I could look online, find out that there was this species of fish to this size at this lake, these swims are the hot spots, and I could just go there and catch them. And I used to find, back then, I used to really want that, and find that I was like, oh, it's so tiresome having to find everything for yourself. But now that I've moved to England, that's what I like pine for. That's what I really, really want. I love that. Just that, like I said, it's the adventure. It's the whole journey of discovering everything from finding a bit of blue on a map to catching a really cool fish. Like that's that whole timeline. It's something that I love every step of it, and I want every step of it. I don't want it to come across like I don't like the UK. I mean, I love the UK fishing scene. The fact that it's even got a scene, I don't want to seem like I'm dissing it. I want to find my own way to enjoy it. That's what I'm after. Saw a few mouths, taking a bit of bread flake underneath the bush over there, so rolled a little bit through. And this was on the end. I thought it might have been a carp, but clearly it's a chub. We're going to work our way downstream now, back towards the vans, change of venue, we think. Caught a few nice fish. Ooh, he's gone. He's gone. Caught a few nice fish, but we want to catch something a bit bigger now, a bit bigger carp. So yeah, we'll work our way back down, see if we can catch any more. Yeah, good start to the day though. It was still pretty early in the day when we sort of decided that we were done on the River Lee. We could have gone to a few other stretches, but I kind of felt like we'd done it, I'd had enough. So I knew where we were going for the night, so I decided to stop off sort of on the way up at Day Ticket Lake, again, that's something that I do. I'll sort of decide on a whim that I want to go somewhere, and I'll go there and I'll start fishing. And that's exactly what we did. We went to a fishery that I've been to a few times in the past, Stanwick Fishery. After an enjoyable morning on the river, we decided to come to a day ticket fishery for sort of 5 or 6 hours before we head on to the night venue. The night venue is no publicity, let's say, so we give it a bit of time till we go there. But for now, we're at Mallard Lake, Stanwick Fishery. It's a lake I've fished a few times in the past. I do really enjoy it here. It's a good opportunity for a quick bite, which is what we're after right now. I've loaded all my gear into a sling mat. I'm going to go and do a couple of laps, put a bit of bait in. I've got my 6-foot dwarf with me as well, just in case I find something in the edge where I can sort of nick one straight away. If not, put a bit of bait in, do a few laps, hopefully find some feeding fish and get a quick bite. First swim we've walked into, and there's a few fish sort of milling around in the edge. Few slicker floaters, hardly any, just sort of flicked, like 1 or 2 flicked over the head, and they started milling around looking for them, and we managed to nick one pretty much straight away. Hey! That'll do for the first sort of 5 minutes we've been here. Right, I could do with stop getting distracted by all the little fish, but like I said, went into a little bay, saw a few milling around and couldn't really resist. And it's only sort of cost us 10 minutes, so I'm gonna get him back, get onto the main lake I was supposed to be targeting, get a bit of bait in, and hopefully catch something a little bit bigger. I think for my style of angling to be successful, a lot of it is staying mobile. Like, it's such a cliche, isn't it? Like, you hear it from us, I mean, you hear it from the Nash all the time, especially. It's a big thing that we bang the drum on, but it is so, like, if I'm weighed down by a barra and a bed chair and a bivvy, like, even that is starting to be for me like, oh, I can't be able to carry all this around with me. I'd rather just go around with one rod and an hooking mat that works as like a sling that I can get everything in, and a backpack. Like, for me, that's freedom for me. I can just go around. I don't have to be restricted and weighed down by all that gear. So staying mobile is so cliche, but it is such a rule I live by. Another one is just enjoy what you're doing. I see so many times, I don't know what it is, that people almost, it seems like the punishment is like a good thing, and that not enjoying it is carpy or whatever. Like, just enjoy what you're doing. And yeah, if that's why I think I'm not a good campaign angler, because it gets to a point sort of like 5, 6 sessions in, and I'm just sort of like sit there and go, am I enjoying this anymore? And I go, no, like, the last 12 hours have been terrible. Like, I don't know why I'm still here. And that's when I'm like, right, cut it. New campaign, new adventure. So yeah, just enjoy what you're doing, and don't feel like you need to put yourself through things for the sake of it. Like, that's not what fishing's about. Sadly, nothing happened at Mallard. We didn't manage to catch one, and the gate was closed, so it was time to move, and it was a bit of a drive up to the next venue where we were going to do the night. Now, this next venue it's really, really special. My angling does go through these sort of intense periods where I find a lake or a venue or whatever, and it just means everything to me. And this lake was one of those venues. It really was something that I'd fully absorbed myself in. I spent a lot of time, not so much even fishing it, but like baiting it, preparing swims, just being there and looking at fish and just seeing what was happening. And yeah, it was like a mini little spring campaign for me. And I'd caught a few nice fish from there. I had no idea what the actual stock was. There was a few sort of 20-pound commons and maybe the odd 30. But over the course of the spring, I found out a lot more about what was in the place. First session down there, after baiting it for quite a lot, resulted in 4 fish in 2 hours. It just showed me like, oh yeah, if you really prepare and put the groundwork in, you can benefit from it massively. And it must have been sort of 3-4 weeks of pre-bait and raking swims and everything, and it just all came good for that one session. and resulted in 4 fish up to upper 20s and some really cool fish at that as well.
Well, that didn't take long at all. First one, mega fish, big old tail, look at that. Just gonna do some south takes, and it's gone again. Check that one, a little bit bigger. Oh, sweating. That's a workout, literally about to do some photos. There is number 3. Madness, absolute madness. That's why you pre-bait. And that is number 4. But there's 2 or 3 that I really want in there, so I'm gonna leave it for a little bit.
It was a really, really crazy spring, really. I'd sort of gone from not really knowing what I was gonna do and not having a focused plan for what I wanted to do for the spring, and then this just all the pieces fit together for me on this one. And yeah, there was a few sessions that I spent there that really, really paid off. I think I finished on sort of 11, 12 fish, topped off by a couple of really nice 30-pound commons, and one of my favourite captures was this upper 30 ghosty. I know ghosties aren't everyone's cup of tea, but for me it was just, I'd seen this fish the previous year as well. It looked big, it looked in the water, it looked sort of low 30, and when I hooked it and I could see it charging off up that channel that I'd been fishing, and I could see it was a ghosty, and I knew it was a big fish, and it stuck in weed bed after weed bed. Eventually you get it in and you look down and you see, oh, that's bigger than sort of low 30, that's 30, I think it's 37.12.
Some of the targets, big ghosty. Looks massive as well, what an intense fight. Weed bed after weed bed, managed to get him in. Just chilling in the net now, my camera's sort of fogged up a bit, so I'm just waiting for that to demist, and then I'm gonna do some sail takes. I'll show you, but cool carp, really cool carp.
That was a capture that's really gonna stick by me. I think all the boys at work will vouch on that. The excited message to the group chat going, I've got the big ghosty, I've got him, and like out of breath sort of voice notes saying how big it actually was. Yeah, so that really, really topped off what was a very, very enjoyable little spring campaign for me. Unfortunately, the success of the spring campaign didn't carry on to when Dan came and joined me with the cameras, and it was a quiet night, but nonetheless, I hope you can sort of realise how special that lake could have been and how amazing it actually is. Another rule I really live by is only care about the kit that counts. I see so many people out there who they really, like the main priority for them is what their gear and their setup looks like. I just think by the time you've got your bivvy looking perfect and the rods all lined up and just everything looking amazing and all the money you've spent on it, like you could have caught so many fish in that time. Like it really doesn't matter. The thing that matters is you need to be able to get your hook bait into a position that the carp are going to eat with a bait that they're going to want to eat, and you need to be able to extract them once they've hooked themselves. So the things that matter there really are your bait and your TT, and yeah, your rods and reels need to be up to the job to land and get everyone into position. But other than that, like don't worry too much about kit. It really grinds me when I see people really going like, oh, what rod have you got? What reel have you got? I've got this. But it's like, it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter. Are you enjoying your fishing and are you catching fish? Those are the 2 real questions. People used to laugh at me at work when I first joined because I fished with this little yellow rod quite a bit that I think I got for about a £10 rod and reel combo when I was on holiday in America once. And I do get it, it did look kind of stupid, and going around day tickets stalking carp out with this flimsy little yellow rod wasn't the best look, but it worked. He's caught me some pretty big fish, and I almost sort of did it to prove a point that you don't need those massively expensive rods and everything to go out and enjoy your fishing. Young kids growing up who might feel like that, I kind of want to make them see that someone in my position where I work for this huge tackle company, I can sort of get whatever gear I want, I still don't need the very, very top-end gear to catch carp and enjoy my fishing. I really don't. It's perfectly more than adequate to go out and catch the fish you want and enjoy your fishing, and that's what it's all about. That is absolutely what it's all about. And that brings me to where we are today. We're at a lake not too far from work that I sort of target targeted on and off since I started working at Nash. It's a cool lake, and at certain times of the year it's massively productive. We started off with a fish, well actually we started off with, we went round and we're sort of baiting spots, as I always like to do here, and we found a few feeding in the edge, and I just sort of had a free line rod with me, and side hooked a boilie, flicked it out, hooked one. Yeah. Oh my God. That was good, wasn't it, Dan? Almost straight away, but sadly lost it, which is sometimes is the case when you're freeline, especially when you're side hooking boilies. It's not the most efficient way to fish for them. It is a very cool lake, very intimate, just very much my style of angling, and that's what I love about it. And at certain times of the year, it can be massively productive. We got down here, put a bit of bait in a few different spots, and it didn't take long for a few fish to sort of start having a feed, and didn't take as long to catch one. We then settled in for the night, and in the early hours of the morning, R3 screamed off, and I had another one of the very cool commons that reside in this lake, and it is actually waiting for a photograph right now, so I'm going to shoot off and get some photos. There we go, another really cool dark common, which are sort of pretty typical for this place, and I absolutely love them. Just the colours on them, they blow me away every time. Hope you enjoyed this few day insight into my angling journey. Maybe there's something you can sort of take away from it yourself, something you can relate to. I'd say if there's one takeaway that I think everyone should sort of implement into their angling is to not take yourself too seriously, just go out and enjoy it. At the end of the day, it's just fishing. You're doing it for the fun of it. Don't worry about having the latest gear, fishing the big circuit waters. If you're not enjoying it, what's the point? So that's what I always implement into my angling. I hope you do too. And yeah, at the end of the day, catching carp like this, what's not to like about it?